Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we're going to check out another of these incredible JP 30th anniversary figures from Marco Makes, as we've got the Baryonyx. So that's really exciting to now have the Baryonyx. We've had, I think this would be the 5th overall from these figures that we've had so far, and we have plenty more to get through because there are a ton in this line. And I must say, this has been one of the most fun and coolest things that Marco has done when it comes to his figures. Of course, I love everything Marco produces, but the fact that he was able to release such a massive lineup of so many different species all at once is just so cool, because I can remember for years thinking, wow, I would love to have a figure of this species sculpted by Marco, or a figure of this species sculpted by Marco. So, pretty much completing my dreams, he has gone ahead and given us just a ton of different species, again, sculpted all out, of course, by Marco and released in these basic figures, all given that kind of maquette style look, which I also really quite like. But you can see, just like with all of them, you have the packaging here. Now, this is an assembled version of the packaging, and this is an unpainted figure. If you buy the figure unpainted, you will get the box, but you get it unassembled. If you buy the figure painted, you'll get the box as well, but you get the box then assembled, so it would come like this. On the inside of the box as well, we have this little slip, which I've shown off each and every time. I think you're probably getting tired of me showing it to you guys, but what we will do is open it up again and show the inside here to kind of give you an idea of all of the different figures that are in this lineup. And since we are looking at the Baryonyx, you can see right there is what Marco's paint job for the Baryonyx looks like. So that's what it would look like if you go ahead and get one painted by Marco. I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to give it that paint job or maybe one of the Camp Cretaceous paint jobs. I'm probably going to go with that one, but I haven't actually decided quite yet. Something I definitely need to do because we're already, in the review process, so I need to get it painted up right away. But again, they all look incredible. Marco's paintwork is just as impressive as his sculpting skills, that is for sure. And then you can again see actually an image here on the back showing off all of the figures again. And then the box art is just as beautiful as it has been each and every time. Just the most professional looking box art that I could imagine. And definitely one of the coolest ways to display these figures, because you have that gorgeous backdrop there, that very Jurassic Park-ish backdrop. And then of course the Caution Dinosaurs Ahead sign on the front. And then information and everything here on the back, as well as a really cool shot of a paddock fence. And then of course the JP 30th anniversary logo right there, as well as the QR code, which you can scan to head straight to Marco's social media outlets. So we'll get nice and close for you to check that out. But of course, the thing we're most interested in would be this fantastic Baryonyx. So without further ado, let's jump to a closer look at it right now. So starting up here at the head sculpt of our Baryonyx, you can straight away see that the accuracy is through the roof. It 100% looks like it just crawled straight out of Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. It's really, really well done when it comes to the screen accuracy and just the general, shape of the head and everything, and of course the body, but we're only here at the head right now. You can see that the skin texture looks really nice. We've got some really vibrant scale detail here on the head sculpt of the Baryonyx. You can take note to the nostrils right there. Some nice detailing there around the eye. And I like that this one has the mouth slightly open. That's not really something that we've seen on any of the figures like this before up until this point. So we do have a little bit of difference on this one compared to the others. You can see the mouth is just ever so slightly open, which is really cool. And all of the teeth look really, really nice. Again, definitely hyped to get some paint work on this and see how nice it turns out in the long run here. As far as the final product goes, I'm sure it's going to be incredible. But you can see this side of the head sculpt looks just as nice as it did on the initial side. As you lead up here to the top, you can see again more really nice looking scale detail and skin texture. Leading back here into the back of the Baryonyx, we pick up that almost slightly armored sort of a look here with those kind of larger scoot-like scales. As you move down the course of the back, as you lead down here, you can see some more nice looking skin texture, some nice skin wrinkling and everything right there back behind the jaw as you lead into the neck. And then you can lead down here. You've got the throat sculpted out. As we lead down a little further along the course of the neck, you see more creasing and everything down here. As we lead into the arms, you can see the shoulder blade there kind of protruding from the skin, or you could at least if my camera would focus on it. There we go. And you can see again, nice muscular looking arms. You've got a really nice looking positioning for the hands as they're kind of held into the body a little bit, which I really quite like. The fingers look great as well, really nicely sculpted out. And even though it is kind of all in a neutral position, again, that very maquette-like pose, I love that the fingers are kind of positioned slightly differently, just kind of adding a little bit of extra life to the figure. As you lead back up here into the stomach region, you can really see the rib cage shining here, and of course the skin texture is going to shine a lot nicer once we paint it up, but you've got some skin wrinkles and everything here in the lower part of the stomach. As you lead back up, you see more of that sort of armored kind of a look here running along the back of the Baryonyx, as that's exactly how it appears in both Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom as well as, of course, Camp Cretaceous, where the Baryonyx have quite a bit going on in that series. But as you lead down here into the leg, you can see more nice muscle definition, some more nice looking skin texture. You've got the calf muscle bulging right there. You can see the kneecap as well as the shin as you move down the course of the leg into the foot sculpt. The foot sculpt also looks really good. Of course, both feet are planted. Again, exactly as a maquette would look if we had an actual maquette here before us, but this is absolutely the next best thing to owning a maquette if you don't have the pleasure of getting one from the Jurassic franchise or from the production team, which I would like to think most of us don't have that opportunity. Definitely having one here from Marco is like pretty much just as impressive, because it looks just about as identical as I could imagine. But you can see the dew claws back here on the feet are present as well. And then as we lead back up, you've got some more nice looking skin texture and, creasing and everything as you lead out into the tail. And then again, that more armored sort of a look here leading along the back. As we lead out, we have a really nice curve to the tail. It's kind of got a nice bend to it, not a super impressive curve, but again, pretty much exactly as you would see on a maquette, again, that would have been used in the franchise when creating the Baryonyx. I would pretty much exactly expect it to look like that. But you can see the detailing here on the underside also looks really, really nice. You've got some very kind of crocodilian sort of skin texture here for the underside of the Baryonyx. And of course, the other side's not really going to look too different. Of course, I'm sure there's plenty of subtle differences because, of course, the figure isn't a direct clone of the other side, but for the most part, it's going to look pretty much the same, especially considering the fact that it's just standing again in a neutral position. So there's not a whole lot that we really need to go over on this side, but you can see it looks just as beautiful as it did on the initial side. So now we get to the fun part. Let's go ahead, get some paint on this, and we'll be right back to check it out. And here is our painted up version of the Baryonyx, and I'm definitely pretty happy with this. I wouldn't say I'm super happy with it, but I'm also not all that familiar with the paint scheme of this dinosaur. I think I might have painted it once before on a Mattel Baryonyx, but that was a little ways back, and I feel like I wasn't quite up to where I am now when it comes to my painting skill, but I feel like it turned out pretty decent. I used some reference material, of course, for it with the Dinosaur Style Guide for the Jurassic World line that was recently released from Marco Makes and Dino Mike Mac, as well as quite a massive amount of other people that, of course, took part in the creation of that. But again, once there's actually some paint work on it, just like with every one of these basic figures, it absolutely comes to life. And you can really see now just how impressive the sculpt is, especially if you just look right here at the top of the head. Look at how nice that scale detail is. Marco is absolutely incredible when it comes to sculpting out his dinosaurs, especially when it comes to, again, screen accuracy. This is just on another level of screen accuracy. It just screams Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom specifically for me, because that's where, of course, the Baryonyx was introduced. But again, the sculpt is just absolutely awesome, and once you add a little paint to it, just like with all of these figures, it just comes to life in the most realistic and best way possible, while still continuing to have that kind of maquette sort of look, which is one of the coolest things about these, I think. And I honestly am so over the moon excited about potentially having the entire collection at some point of these figures, and then just having like really, really beautifully sculpted maquette-style versions of each of the Jurassic Park and Jurassic World dinosaurs, because there will come a time, at least I believe anyway, when I will have all of them, and then they'll all be painted up sitting here and looking incredible. But again, we are moving down the list of these figures as we now have the Baryonyx again, probably one of the coolest dinosaurs to ever enter the Jurassic franchise in, of course, the basic figure line, but also now in my collection. As far as a size goes on our Baryonyx, for a length, you are looking at from the snout to the tail around 9.5 inches or about 24 centimeters. And then for a height, a little shy of 3.5 inches or closing in on 9 centimeters. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, and Robert Muldoon from the Mattel Jurassic World toy line next to the basic JP 30th anniversary Baryonyx from Marco Makes. And at this point, I would like to think you've already got a pretty good idea of the size of the figure, because we have reviewed quite a few of these basic figures already, and they're all in the same general size range. They're not too far off as a whole from each other, so I think at this point we're probably starting to iron out the size pretty well. But if not, for another comparison, just like I did with the Tyrannosaurus Rex, we've got a Captives supersized Spinosaurus, and you can see the Baryonyx is a good bit larger, but not super far off, showing you that this figure is definitely in the smaller range, approaching medium, I would say. But for another comparison with other JP 30th anniversary figures, first of all, we have the Compsognathus, which you can see almost goes eye to eye with the Baryonyx, but obviously these are definitely not to scale with each other, and the majority of these figures all kind of sit in the same similar size range, just different body proportions making them either taller or shorter. The Compy has a very long neck, so obviously that makes it a little bit taller than our Baryonyx. Then we've got ourselves Rexy, and you can definitely see next to the Baryonyx, Rexy is definitely a very similar size. Pretty much, I would say identical in size, just again, slightly different positioning for the head and everything. And then, of course, we've got our Carnotaurus, which at this point seems to potentially be the largest out of all of them, because it definitely is the biggest figure as far as the theropods go that we have in the line so far, obviously a little bit taller than our Baryonyx. And then, of course, we can't forget our good buddy, the Ankylosaurus here, as far as these JP 30th anniversary basic figures go, again stepping in for a comparison next to our Baryonyx. So this brand new Marco Makes JP 30th anniversary Baryonyx is absolutely awesome. Definitely another really cool figure, and it is so neat to see such a wide array of different dinosaurs, different species in this collection, because even though, it's labeled as the JP 30th anniversary, Marco obviously has figures and dinosaurs and everything from many different films, pretty much all of the different films actually, that you see in the Jurassic franchise, because we have just straight away actually within the figures that we've seen here that I've reviewed so far, we had Rexy from Jurassic Park, we had the Compsognathus from the Lost World Jurassic Park, we have the Ankylosaurus from Jurassic Park 3, and then the Carnotaurus and the Baryonyx are from Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, and of course Dominion as well. But that shows you again that there's just so many different species from so many different films that are being celebrated here by Marco. And this Baryonyx is absolutely fantastic. Again, when it comes to looking like it literally just came out of the screen, this is definitely a great choice when it comes to the Baryonyx, because it literally looks like he pulled it out of the screen and just brought it right here for us to own into our collections. The sculpt is absolutely gorgeous, very highly detailed, very crisp, very vibrant, as pretty much all of these figures are, because every single one of them has, again, had that extremely impressive detail to it, as pretty much everything Marco does usually has. And just like with the others, you can buy this either painted or unpainted. This is what mine looks like, the painted up version that I did. You can have yours painted by Marco, which the paint job would probably turn out nicer than mine did, because he's an incredible painter. But again, that would really be your choice. Of course, if you purchase it painted, it's going to be a little bit more expensive, or you can go the cheaper route and grab yourself one of these Baryonyx unpainted. But if you are like me and you've been a fan of Jurassic Park for a very long time, and you've watched all of that extra material and stuff that's out there about it, and you've seen all the Stan Winston maquettes and stuff, this line is an absolute dream come true, because every single figure looks like a maquette that was taken straight from Stan Winston Studios, and that is exactly what our Baryonyx looks like as well. So if you are interested in grabbing one of these for yourself, as always, I will include a link in the description to the Etsy shop of Marco Makes, where you can head on over there right now and snag yourself one or all of the figures, whatever you are interested in. They, again, are on there, and if they're not currently, that just means they're currently sold out, and they'll be back at some point in the very near future, so just keep checking back. But one way or another, completely recommend any figure from this line. They are all awesome so far, and I cannot wait to continue to build my JP 30th anniversary collection moving into the future. So make sure you grab yourself some of these awesome figures, and also like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.